Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, folks. This is Balaji O, and today we are speaking with a seasoned professional that is going to get you motivated to do Celebrity Hangouts. I'm talking about Debbie Horovitch. Debbie's a seasoned advertising media professional who has a lengthy list of recognizable names throughout her career. She's worked with Visa Canada, Lexus, the Toronto International Film Fest, the Globe and Mail newspaper, 680 News Radio, Cougar Boots, Ontario Tourism, and on and on and on, many, many other small businesses and professionals. Debbie is a professional speaker and trainer specializing in media business insights from new technology and platforms like social media, media democratization. Debbie's been hired to speak at ad agency launches for large media producers and to all the Ontario auto dealers, even in Las Vegas for the Cater Source and Event Solutions Conference. This lady is highly sought out. Debbie's been featured twice in Harvard Business Review, twice in Forbes, twice in Sprout Social for her insights into how any business professional, even someone who's underemployed, can create a relevant media channel and content for their direct business benefit. Now, while Debbie usually takes the position of advocating for the successful use of established media channels, she recently created an entirely new approach, get this, to planning video live streaming shows, okay, using Google Plus Hangouts on Air. They're called Celebrity Hangouts on Air. If you didn't know about them before, you're going to know about them today, okay? So I want you guys to sit tight, get ready to take some notes. This lady knows her stuff. Celebrity Hangouts on Air are going to transform your business. They allow anyone to develop a show that has celebrity guests in whatever niche, right? Yep. Using live streaming, established media sites. You can even get sponsors, and you can get impressive results for the boss. Let me step out of the way and let the real celebrity of the hour come talk to you guys about this amazing approach to building your profile in your niche. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Debbie Horovitch. Welcome, Debbie.
Thank you so much, Balaji. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, goodness. Listen, Debbie, this is a topic that I've been hearing about for a while, and I've been telling myself, I really need to figure out how this whole thing works. But, goodness, it just seems so complicated to me. So, Debbie, I need you to be able to break this down really simply, even for a professional like me. So, Debbie, how did you get started creating Celebrity Hangouts on Air?
Thank you. Yeah, great question. It was completely accidental. I didn't start out with the intention of creating a whole new or unique process to planning anything. But I was working full-time as a social media community manager for a tech startup. And I was really overworked because I was working to manage Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Foursquare, and every other new social media that I could possibly for this company that didn't really want me using social media. They had hired me to do social media, but it wasn't really what they were hoping for. And at the same time, I was trying to build my own agency evenings and weekends, Social Sparkle and Shine. And one of the things that I really wanted to do within my job was I wanted to encourage this tech startup. We were launching a business app. I wanted to encourage them to get in touch with their users, their clients, and the app users while they were still in development, before they released, and start having conversations and prepping the marketplace. So I knew that I wanted to create those conversations on social channels. And of course, a big part of my job is being on every social media platform and making sure that I understand how to use that platform for this brand. So I was on Google Plus watching some shows. I used to participate in a weekly Hangout on Air show. Okay. And I was really frustrated that the host of the show, every week, he would post links saying, you can be on, you can join us on the show. Here's the link at this time. And I always I want to be on camera. I want to promote the brand that I'm there to promote. I want opportunities for other people to see me. I don't just want to sit in the audience and watch. And I was always really frustrated by the fact that I couldn't join this Hangout on Air. I couldn't figure out how. And I wasn't sure if the host of the show actually wanted guests on the panel or not, or if he was just not really sure about how to communicate to viewers and potential participants exactly how the process would work. And so, but at the same time, I was frustrated by it, but I loved it. I was compelled. I couldn't stop watching every week. I couldn't stop participating in the conversations live and really gaining a ton of value from it. And when I looked at it, I looked at what it was doing for the host of the show. He went from being underemployed to hosting a weekly Google Plus Hangout on Air. To he posted one Facebook update about his show that was weekly on Google Plus Hangouts on Air. It was a community manager's weekly hangout where we discussed the business of being a community manager. And he posted one update on his Facebook, and it actually got him a job to develop for Huffington Post the entire Google Plus 24-hour live streaming channel on Google Plus Hangouts on Air. So he moved from Chicago to New York City to start the Huffington Post. HuffPost Live channel is run by him. And so,
off of that one post.
Off of that one Facebook post. Someone within his community saw this, authority positioning of his, using his Google Plus Hangout on Air. And there are many, many businesses that are looking into how do we leverage the new tools, and especially the new tools that Google is giving us, because for every business, Google ranking and Google listing, the Google search engine, is extremely important for every business. And so the more Google media production tools that you use and use in your business, the more Google search engine will reward you because they want to rank their own content highest.
Interesting. So let me ask you, Debbie, who is this really for? When you talk about Celebrity Hangouts on Air, what's the ideal person that can really take advantage of this technology and this authority positioning? Well,
it's interesting. It is a really wide variety of people, because I was an overworked full-time professional, and launching my own Hangout on Air show established me within the industry across North America immediately.
Wow.
Because what happened was I started my own show because of the frustration of watching this other show and not being able to participate. So I said, okay, I'm going to have to start my own show. I wanted to do it for my job and for my boss, but my boss said no, he couldn't understand how it was going to help. And so I said, okay, I won't do it at work. When I get home from 5 p.m. to 9 a.m., I'm going to work on my own business, and I'm going to try and launch a Google Plus Hangout on Air show. And so basically I did it with no budget, almost like a person who was unemployed or underemployed. And I spent my evenings and weekends trying to put together a show that would speak to my passion, that would really be a good test for me. And so I created my first show, which was Sparkle SOS Book Authors and Publishers, and it's a monthly hangout, basically like a mastermind for book authors ranging from aspiring all the way up to bestsellers. And so every month, I started out with no big name authors, and I wasn't even looking to create Celebrity Hangouts on Air. Like I said, I was just looking to test the channel, test the medium. Right. And within 3 episodes of my show, book authors, Sparkle SOS book authors and publishers, Guy Kawasaki found my show on...
Wow.
And this was back in 2012. Within 3 episodes, he found my show, and he asked me, can I be a guest on your show sometime?
Okay, let me just and try to understand what really happened. So what you're telling me, Debbie, is that you were interested in the technology, kind of as a fan, as an attendee.
Yeah.
You wanted to bring this into your employer. They weren't really interested at the time, and so you decided to learn it on your own and use it for your fledgling agency.
Right.
Okay? And now you set up this show, and within how many episodes? 3 episodes?
3 episodes.
You had a New York Times best-selling author. Did you reach out to him?
No, I didn't. He reached out to me.
He reached out. He found you and asked to be on your show.
Absolutely. It blew my mind. I had no idea that was going to happen. I mean, I had the idea in my head that, maybe after like a year or 2 years, I could be, big and having guests coming to my shows. Yeah, like someone that big name people wanted to interview with, wanted to spend time with. I wanted to elevate myself and my own reputation by literally hanging out with celebrities and with people that I want to be seen more like them. I didn't just want to be seen as a full-time employee, a nobody, a nothing, just another community manager. I wanted to be seen as someone who hangs out with New York Times bestselling authors and who is asked, can we please come on your show and launch? But my intention in my mind, I thought that was going to be 2 years down the road. Mm-hmm. I had no idea that within 3 episodes, I would have every single episode of my show moving forward would have a best-selling author, a featured guest.
Wow.
Because once you have one big name, you can then send the video clip in Gmail, which is really brilliant how Google links together all of their products. If you use Gmail and Google Drive and Google Plus and Google Plus Hangouts on Air and YouTube, Google rewards you in all sorts of ways. So in Gmail, and I learned this actually from Dory Clark, who's a writer for Forbes and Harvard Business Review, and she's been on my show numerous times.
Wow.
And she even wrote about me in her last book, Stand Out.
Cool.
She's been a huge supporter and fan of this whole approach that I've created. Oh, goodness. What was I saying?
So you were mentioning how Dory Clark featured you in her book, and she's been a supporter of the whole Google Hangouts show and approach. But this is what's amazing to me is that within 3 episodes, New York Times bestselling authors are contacting you, and then all of a sudden you're interviewing bestseller after bestseller after bestseller, where just a few months prior to this, you were just, no offense, but an anonymous employee within some random company in Toronto.
Absolutely, 100%. I went from being an anonymous, just another social media community manager, which I was even viewed as an expert social media community manager, and everyone knew my agency in Toronto, at least, Social Sparkle and Shine. But I didn't feel like I was breaking through. I mean, I was still just an employee for a tech company, and they really didn't appreciate me properly. And so I really wanted to establish myself independently as a known professional and as a valuable addition. And that's really what changed. I mean, it happened so rapidly. It was, I think within 2 months of having Guy Kawasaki on my show, I had left my full-time job. I was doing speaking engagements for Google SEO and social media conferences.
Oh, my goodness.
Within a month of leaving my full-time job. And the same month, I had my first big client, the University of Waterloo Stratford campus, asked me to please help train one of their professionals because they were thinking about doing a Google Plus Hangout on Air. And then after that training went, they realized how much they really needed a professional producer to help them through every step of the process. And so they came back and they hired me for a fairly large contract, government funded, and had me produce the launch of their Google Plus Hangouts on Air shows.
Okay, so this is exciting. And let's say I was a social media manager like yourself. Mm-hmm. I can see how mastering Hangouts on air would instantly, following your steps, propel me to the top of my career. But what about for everybody else who maybe they're not necessarily social media professionals? How can Hangouts on air push them to the top of their profession?
Absolutely. Great question. Thank you so much for asking that. It's really important to recognize that this is not just a tool for social media professionals. And if you go on to Google, I actually don't use Google Plus a lot. I'm not a big fan of Google Plus as a social media platform. I haven't had really great experiences. I find that the culture there tends to be more male and tech focused. Google Plus was one of the original, tech boys social platforms because it's from Google. So it was originally very techy, and a lot of people really just don't want to be using another social media platform. So it's really important to recognize about Google Plus Hangouts on Air and about Celebrity Hangouts on Air that it is not about using Google Plus. It does not require you to establish a big audience in Google Plus. It does not even require you to spend any time at all socializing on Google Plus, because the key to recognize with Hangouts on Air is that they are live streaming on your YouTube channel.
Okay.
So there's two things to consider here. One is within the universe of people who are on Google Plus, if you start a Hangout on Air show that speaks to your passion and that serves, one problem, one solution. With Sparkle SOS Book Authors and Publishers, it was my problem. I wanted to write a book. I wanted to be a book author, but it seemed a million miles away from my reality. And so I started my show to bring on experienced people and experienced guests who could help me understand how do I bring that closer to my reality. So as soon as you launch something that is very, very niche, you will probably be the only Google Plus Hangout on Air live streaming onto YouTube of that subject matter.
Whoa. Okay,
right?
let me catch
no
this.
competition.
I'm catching up to you here, Debbie. This is kind of interesting to me. So let me give you an example and see if this could work. I'll try to think of something random. Like, let's say I was a chiropractor in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes.
Okay, I've never done anything Hangout, none of that. What I hear you telling me is that I could start a Hangout on Air show, and I could interview or talk about topics that people would be interested in, people who need chiropractic would be interested in, and you're saying that would make me more visible?
Absolutely. It connects your YouTube to Google search, right?
Okay.
Because now what you're doing is you're creating video content using YouTube, creating video content that is full of keywords, and Google search likes video the most. They like recent video the most, and they like their own video the most. So when you're creating content in your specialty that has all of the keywords and the elements that Google search looks for, it's going to put your show, your video content at the top of Google search for those keyword phrases.
Wow.
Which is really super powerful for SEO and for, for driving traffic. But from a non-technical standpoint, there's that technical element of benefits from doing Google Plus Hangouts on Air as your video live stream choice. And then the other element of it is that you're being positioned as the go-to person within the community. Here's how I saw it. When I first looked at Google Plus Hangouts on Air, before I started my show,
yes.
When I was looking at it, I looked at it and I went, I think Google Plus Hangouts on Air could allow me to become the Oprah Winfrey of my professional
Wow. Whoa, you got to say that one more time, Debbie. Because that just painted an instant image in my mind. Could you say that for me one more time, please?
Launching and hosting your own Google Plus Hangouts on Air show can allow you to become the Oprah Winfrey of your peer professional community. So you become the show, the broadcast show, the only one on Hangouts on Air that everyone knows about that has celebrity guests. Whenever anyone big in your industry is doing something big, bring them onto your show to help launch.
Wow.
Now, that's a great way to get big celebrities and big important people and connections for your own business on your show. So it's like it's an amazing way to establish a professional relationship with someone. And I can't even tell you the amount of business that I have gotten from clients that I've had as a guest first on my show.
Okay, so Debbie, you're bringing a lot of stuff out here. The first thing that you really convinced me of, that whole concept of being the Oprah Winfrey of my niche. I want to be that.
Yeah.
I want to be the go-to person that all the prospects and customers come to for education.
Right.
That's fantastic. But now you've flipped it on me, and what you've said is all those top-level guests that come on the show can actually become partners or clients? Is that what you're saying?
Partners, clients, they can give you opportunities. I mean, I was a fan of Mike Michalowicz since 2008. But I was a fan, and then I was his customer buying his products and his books, and then I was his client. But I was really just a client. I was paying him. And so he treated me like a client, which was great, but it wasn't like a friend.
Right.
It wasn't like an important person within his business.
Right.
And when I started Sparkle SOS Book Authors and Publishers, Mike was one of the first people that I reached out to.
Oh.
He did come on my show. Or he tried to come on he was going to be my first celebrity guest on my first episode. He tried to join the show but was unable to because he was at another speaking engagement. And then he finally came on in March, and it firmly established the relationship between me and him because I was the first person that had ever interviewed him on a Google Plus Hangout on Air. So when you bring these celebrities and well-known people, they have been interviewed across every single media channel.
Okay.
You know, a podcast does nothing for them. Often, an article does nothing for them because they're in the major media already. What they're looking for is something new, something different, something that can help them grow their reach in a whole new universe, in a whole new way. And so I've been the very first person to introduce Hangouts on Air in a positive way to Mike Michalowicz, to Dory Clark, who's the writer from Forbes and Harvard Business Review. She was I was her first Hangout on Air person to interview her. And it taught her about the medium. I introduced the medium to her, so she became a huge fan of my show and of me. And I think anyone can do that because Google is really, really bad at promoting what they do. Google's really good at building tools, but they're really bad at telling people how to use it, why to use it, when to use it. And so I've taken that position for them in creating Celebrity Hangouts on Air. I'm showing people how and when to use Google Plus Hangouts on Air, and you can do it too.
So Debbie, how about this? What if I don't actually have an audience yet? Kind of like in your scenario, you came from a corporate position, although you were known for your agency services in Toronto, you didn't have much of an audience outside of Toronto. I'm coming in, I have zero audience. How much audience can I actually build starting from scratch?
Well, it's really interesting, and I mean, every media channel is different, and every media person, everyone who starts a media show, will put in different efforts and access different resources. So it really is different for every person. But what happens is with Celebrity Hangouts on Air, the really unique thing that I've discovered because of my media background, I was a media buyer for ad agencies for 15 years, which it's a lot of fun because you get schmoozed. You're the buyer. I was the one with $20 million to spend every year. And so every media channel would pick up the phone when I called for sure, because they never knew if I was going to spend $250,000 with them that day. And so I would get taken out to lunches and sent on trips and all sorts of amazing stuff. And, I could see TV shows ahead of time, but there was also a lot of research and numbers and it was always about how do we access the right audience. And so one thing that I started to realize as I was building my Hangout on Air show, I started very slow and very small. My live audiences for the first 3 episodes, I think my live viewing audience of those 3 episodes was probably about 10 live viewers at the most. Okay. And then, but the brilliance of Hangouts on Air is that there's no editing required. There's no uploading to your YouTube required. There's nothing required. It automatically, when you press the live broadcast button in your Hangout on Air, it starts automatically live streaming on your YouTube channel. Wow. And then the minute when you stop your Hangout on Air recording, the video exists there on your YouTube channel for you to use and promote.
Get out of town.
So
really?
It's really just like live recording, like having a live studio audience for a recorded TV show.
Wow.
And so you have to make the decision in your head as the producer of a show, do I want live audience? And do I want to promote live audience to generate live audience? Because that's the hardest thing to do, is to get them there at a time and a place and keep them engaged. And it's the most expensive and time consuming and effort requiring to get a live audience. But but the live audience gets the most exciting because they actually get to interact with your celebrity live.
This is
and they can be brought into the show. You can be watching your Twitter. You can be watching your comments on the show on other social platforms. And you can say, hey, so-and-so over on Twitter just had this comment.
Is it possible to get sponsorship for a Hangout on Air?
Absolutely. Any media channel that you're producing that has audience can get sponsors. For me, just to backpedal just 1 second, the important thing about producing YouTube videos, and anyone who is a regular blogger or content manager or even a content marketer in social media knows, or guest bloggers even, we all know that your blog posts, people don't really like to read text, and a lot of audiences want to watch video. And so in your blog posts, you want to embed videos. When you're a guest blogger, you want to embed existing videos. So what I discovered, which blew my mind, was that you can schedule a Google Plus Hangout on Air for the future.
Okay.
And then as soon as you schedule it on Google Plus, it actually exists in your YouTube channel.
Okay.
Where you can go grab the embed code.
Huh.
So you can embed a video that doesn't even exist into a guest blog post and then live stream your Hangout on Air into that media channel. Instantly live streaming your show to their entire audience, which I talked about this for about a year and no one believed me. No one could get it. No one could understand it because I'm a media professional and, I like numbers and research and techie stuff. And so I was getting frustrated because I'm like, there's a massive opportunity here. When you can go from small audience to instantly simulcast on a established media channel to their audience, then you can get sponsors.
That is fascinating.
Sponsors want an audience. So when you can contract or when you can demonstrate, wait, in 6 weeks or in 6 months, I'm going to be live streaming here and you can already see the video. Wouldn't you like to be on the video when we go live on this channel? So I did it. I demonstrated it last September on Forbes.com. I didn't tell Forbes what I was doing. They had no idea throughout this entire process what I was planning. And what I did was I wrote an article for Forbes.com called The Ultimate Guide to Hosting Google Plus Hangouts on Air.
Okay.
And within the article, I embedded a future Google Plus Hangout on Air that I had scheduled. So then I sent my article off to Forbes, to my contact at Forbes, Dory Clark, who was a friend by then. And, I knew that at least if it was crap, she would be friendly about it. She would be nice and tell me it was crap. But if it was good, she would probably give me the opportunity to publish it within Forbes. And she got back to me and she said, this is actually quite good. Give me about 2 weeks just to edit it and I'll post it up on my blog on Forbes. And so she posted it 2 weeks later to Forbes, and I had this article with a live streaming video that didn't even exist yet on Forbes. Whenever the readers of the article would press the play button, they would get a countdown clock saying days, hours, minutes until the start of the live streaming audience. So what I was doing for Forbes was I had contributed a really almost like a doubly valuable guest blog post for them, because not only did I give them great content that they could post, but I was driving readers of the article who were reading it before the video existed to come back to that exact page on Forbes again for the live stream.
That's amazing. I've never heard of a tactic like that before. That's pretty smart. So Debbie, I know that you teach professionals how to get started with Hangouts on Air, and specifically Celebrity Hangouts on Air.
That's absolutely correct. I've got online, I've got a couple of training programs. I do have a level 1 that allows you to plan a Google Plus Hangout on Air, plan your signature show to launch within 6 weeks, or 6 steps if you wanted to speed it up. And I have a level 2 platform that focuses just on the key points for anyone who already has a live stream or who feels fairly established with the technology and the media. If you're not, if this isn't your first race, I have the level 2 that really just focuses on the key points. And it's for anyone who has a podcast or a live stream video show or any media channel. Okay. You can apply the 4 main pillars of Celebrity Hangouts on Air to improve the audience and value of your existing program.
That is excellent. Debbie, where can we go to find more information about these 2 courses?
I would just search on Google for Celebrity Hangouts on Air, and you'll see my website. Plus, I encourage you to check out any of the articles, especially the article on Forbes. It was a great example and a great demonstration, and we do have the 2-hour live stream that we did there last year. And it's, like I said, it's an awesome demonstration of what you can do for your own show.
Wow. Folks, you've been listening to the dynamic Debbie Horovitch. She can make you the Oprah Winfrey of your niche. I don't think there's anything else that needs to be said. This has been an amazing conversation. Debbie, thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thank you so much.
All right, folks, we will see you on the next show. Be sure to catch Debbie at celebrityhangoutsonair.com. Search for Celebrity Hangouts on Air on Google and be amazed at how she will transform your authority. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.